What's going on, guys and gals? Chris, the Bonafide Hustler, coming to you live from the inside of my office. Yes, I'm back. I'll probably do another video maybe after this or tomorrow about where I've been and everything like that. But it is good to be back. And today I want to discuss with you guys 8 items that you can find in garage sales and sell for good money. So, anyways, I'm the Bonafide Hustler. I reside in Austin, Texas, and on a part-time basis, basically what I do is I find typically used items from garage sales and really thrift stores, and I put these things on eBay, Amazon, Craigslist, my antique booth, and other consignment avenues in town. So anyways, one of the co-founders of thegreenroomuniversity.com, go check it out. And that's the second link down below. Also, if you want to check out a really cool guide that we have that's basically free, and you're wondering maybe you're a little bit more on the beginner intermediate side and you're like, well, I wish I could know a little bit more than 8 items to resell from garage sales. Well, we have this one thing called 100 Amazing Items to Resell. This is not exactly what it is. It's just a little layout of it, but it's a PDF that you can get, a giant guide that is in our first link down below. So anyways, okay, yeah, it's good to be back. Hopefully you can hear me because I'm just routing this thing through the camera because if I have a headset on, there's a lot of stuff I'm going to be grabbing down here, and there's in fact in this video more than 8 items I want to show you. So we'll get to the very first item that I found last weekend at a garage sale, and there are a couple thrift store items in here too, but hey, nobody's really counting, right? Because there's definitely more than 8 items I'm going to show you today. All right, so the very first thing, last weekend, 10 bucks at a garage sale. I actually ended up knowing the guy that was running the garage sale, but I bought this. Now, who thinks they know what this is right here? Yeah, what do you guys think? A lot of people are saying, good to be back. I know I did a vacation. Well, I'll explain later, but it's not for this video. But anyways, but yeah, so this right here is a light field camera. Now, someone at the garage sale told me that this thing does 3D shots or something like that, but this is by a company called Lytro. So this is something that you can look for in garage sales, are basically small point and shoot cameras or specialty kind of cameras, kind of like this. Now, I don't know who really makes this besides Lytro, but Lytro, who knows if it's a Kickstarter campaign? I have no idea. I've never seen that thing before, but I saw it in a box just like this, right? And the bottom had a nice looking, almost like an Apple iPhone looking bottom to it. So I'm like, you know what? That looks pretty high quality. Upon quick research, right? And I did the quick research on Amazon used. I found a really good used price for the red 16 gigabyte one, which is what this is right here. So I decided for 10 bucks, I can't lose, because if you're seeing, let's say, $135 used price on Amazon, that is a good sign. That means maybe on eBay it's selling around 90, maybe 80 bucks. And so that's what I'm going to be shooting for potentially on eBay, unless I can 100% test it out, which it does turn on. And but I mean, outside of just turning on, I don't know much more about it. But we do know that it turns on, and we can see you guys right there. So outside of that, I mean, I could learn how to test it out and everything, but that also takes time. You have to start understanding what your time is worth. But anyways, it goes into this neat little box and pretty much has a lanyard cord. I'll be shooting for around the 80, 90 mark, even though few are selling on eBay around 90 to about 110 with shipping. But I'd be happy with about 80 bucks. So there we go. It's a Lytro. It's called a light field camera, 16 gig. Interesting kind of item I found in a garage sale last weekend. Let's talk about another find that I found in a garage sale last weekend. Now, the charger isn't with this thing, but I still think I can sell it for a solid 50 bucks. This was $1 at a garage sale. I look for things like this, all right? So we have a Dyson. I believe this is a DC-12, if I'm not mistaken, DC-15, something like that. A DC-16. So this is a DC-16, as opposed to the ones that are a little bit more current day. The ones that are more current day now, they go into a dock like upright like this, and there's usually a little hole back here, and instead of the screw being there would be an actual AC kind of plug. So this one's is a little bit older than that. This one has a battery pack that you can swap out if you want to, but also it has a dock kind of thing right here, as we can see. Anytime that you see, whether it be a cordless drill or anything lithium dust buster or something like that, a lot of times they're going to make contact with 2 things like that. And so if you see that, you're going to be looking for a dock. You need a dock to be able to mate up with that. And so essentially that thing will sit in a dock of some sort. It'll charge up when you're ready to do some vacuuming, then off you go. But honestly, we have the Dyson Animal version of this, which is the newest one. And it's the one with a really, really long extension and everything. And it can be a shorter one like this. And I got to tell you, man, They are expensive, right? But they really do suck up a ton of stuff. It's crazy. Don't know if you can hear my dogs barking, but anyways, yeah. So this is the Dyson DC 16. I think I can get about 50 bucks for it. I think it'll be awesome. And it does work, so that's the good thing. So I don't have the charging dock for it, but I can definitely test it because I can squeeze the trigger and it works already. So that's pretty good. What else did I buy? Now you can buy Mensa type games. So let me kind of give you an example of something else at a garage sale that I look for. Now I'm going to probably play this myself for a while, and this doesn't have high resale. Okay, so let me clarify this. But it's really what this represents is what I want to teach you guys, and that is anytime that you can get into games that are kind of Mensa select or things like that, you should start looking more into it. Now this is a cheap game. Okay, this is probably, I could probably resell it once I'm done playing it for 25 bucks, which I'm not even going to go through the the trouble of doing that. This was $1 at a church estate sale or church garage sale, and I'm going to play it. Basically, it's a little laser game, and it's kind of like chess and checkers, except you're actually beaming lasers across a board, and if the laser hits your opponent, then you can take your opponent off the board. But look at all these little things right here. Toy of the Year award, a lot of French different awards right here. Today's Parent Award. It's a really good game that helps kids, think about things critically and on a strategy kind of level, which is interesting because a lot of video games don't kind of do that. And so this is one of the examples I want to show you. Now, here's some other examples of strategy-based games. We have things like this. We have Fuse. That's a pretty interesting one. We have Incognito. These are ones that my brother and I and my wife and maybe some neighbors are going to play one day. We got Dead Panic. So there's that one. And we got a bunch of other ones right here. Castle Panic. We have the Village Crony or Crone, whatever that's called right there. And these are the type of games you need to look for. They typically have really hard boxes as opposed to like a Monopoly or Sorry, Chutes and Ladders, anything like that, which are a little bit more linear type games. These are going to be almost always in these kind of like cube looking things, like squares. They look like this. And if you go to Barnes & Noble, for example, if you're like, I think I know what he's talking about, go to Barnes & Noble, go into their game section, and you're going to start seeing all the Settlers of Catan. You're going to be seeing a bunch of other random games that are made by Fireside, Rio Grande Games, just a bunch of other random things like that. And I think even Target, give me 1 second, guys, because I'm going to show you one that is pretty much, even Target has what I like to call a strategy game section that is board game style, And so here's one of the more popular ones right here, King of New York. And yeah, pretty awesome game. Definitely want to play this with my wife and my brother. Now, the interesting thing about these games is if you look at them carefully, they'll show you how many players can play, about age group plus. So this is a 10 plus, basically age 10 or above. And then it'll show you a time. Almost every single one of these strategy type, what I call nerd games, will show you a time, the average age that can play it or more, and then the players. So that's really important. So let's look at a completely different one right here. This was made by Aiello. This one's made by Fireside Games. And if we look hard enough here somewhere, we should be able to find something that says something about the time. And sure enough, here it is right here. 1 to 6 players, 10 plus, 1 hour. So an average game would take 1 hour to play this board game right here. So that's another clue as to whether you are looking at a strategy-based nerd game or not. I call them nerd games because they're kind of nerdy. They really are. Here's one by RS, ARES, or Ares, or whatever it's called. And we look around it, and here we go. Down here, 13 plus, 60-minute plus time frame, 3 to 5 players. It's right down here, all right? So you can think of it kind of like food and a nutrition label. And, all these will have a certain label for that. All right. So that was like what? Item number 3 I showed you. Let me show you some more stuff. Oh, man, there's a really good find I found yesterday at a thrift store. I'll show you in a second. But, all right, at a garage sale, found these. Now, I might put these on eBay. I'm not 100% sure. I really wish someone would make a guide regarding shoes and boots. I really wish someone could do that. But anyways, these are lager style, first of all. Not lager like beer, but lager like brawny forest logging, actually going out there and cutting down wood and things like that. So these are lager boots. They're women's. We can tell by the heel, pretty much. And then these are women's Georgia lager boots, okay? Is there a specific model? Typically, no. When you start seeing this kind of style, you can put work, safety, logger, motorcycle. You can use all kinds of crazy words that will help a prospective buyer on eBay locate your listing and then decide whether or not they want to buy it. But typically, when you deal with boots, you want to check the undersole. This one had a Vibram undersole, which is awesome. It does have a cut right here, but it's not super deep, but it's definitely there. So I already took pictures of this thing. I'm gonna probably list it tonight and see what happens. I can also put this on my antique booth, in my vintage antique booth. I could probably throw 40 bucks on this and sell it there. But on eBay, there's a possibility that I might be able to sell it for around maybe 75 bucks or so. So here we have some logger boots right there. And eBay, if you guys haven't figured it out by now, is a keyword game for the most part. So if you go into eBay and you look at the best listings or the ones that have sold, the best ones almost always have the best keywords. And the best keywords when you're dealing with boots and shoes are going to be the make, the model. If you can find the model number, that's always good. The color, possibly the variant, the gender, and the application. All right, the application basically means, if you're looking at a, let's say, Nike Air Force One, red, leather, men's, the size, and then the application would be basketball. So application here would be logger, work, safety, and all those other terms that you can put in there, provided you have some space, because obviously there's not an infinite amount of words you can put in the eBay title. So anyways, there's something that you guys learned right there. All right, let's talk about some other things. While we're on the whole thing about shoes and everything, let me show you something I picked up the other day at a thrift store. I thought this was kind of cool. Who thinks they can guess the brand of this? Who can guess this brand right here? Go ahead and check that out. What do you guys think? Who do you think makes this? It's basically not a winter boot, but it's more of a rain waterproof type boot. But who would make this? What do you guys think? Think about it for a second. What's up, Matt? Good to see you in the feed. All kinds of people saying we missed him. We missed Bonafide Hustler. Yeah, I'm back. I'm back, guys. Trust me, I'm totally back. So, yeah, Resell. That's a good guess. I don't think you guys are going to guess this one because this was a tough one, and had it not been for the very back label, I probably would have passed them right by, honestly. So we have some guesses in the feed right now. If you watch my videos after the fact, that's great. But sometimes I go live, and typically it's during the middle part of the day. So if you are here live, hit the like button. You can interact live with my video. But anyways, this right here is something that you should be looking for, specifically this brand at a garage sale. Really awesome. I have flipped many of this brand at a garage sale, from a garage sale. So the brand is, no one's going to guess it. It's going to be nearly impossible. But these are actually, boom, see that right there? These are Hunters. All right, so Hunter is typically known for the tall rain boot, predominantly worn by women. And it's a nice, the rain boots sell really well on eBay. But, when I was walking down the thrift store aisle, I was actually walking down for other reasons to find other things. But I saw that label right there, and I was like, all right, I'm going to swing on that for 10 bucks. If everything goes right, should be able to move these for around 80 plus on eBay. Now, check out the bottom of this. What do you guys think of the condition? Check that out, because anytime that you go to a garage sale or a thrift store for that matter, you're going to want to check the condition of the footwear that you're buying. And footwear has incredible amount of money behind it if you know what to look for. And the reason why I like footwear so much is because half of the packing is demystified. What I mean by that is when you are dealing with other kinds of goods and you're a reseller, a lot of times you have to find the right kind of box, custom fit a box or something like that. Well, when you deal with shoes, half of the packing up is demystified, meaning almost every type of shoe, not almost, I would say 60, maybe 70% of all the shoes that I send out are going to be shipped out in a USPS shoebox, which is free, okay? Free, as long as it goes USPS priority to the destination. They have a free box that can fit, I don't know if it can fit this thing, right? But it can fit a majority of the shoes that I sell. Okay, majority, 70%. Honestly, a majority is pretty, to me, a majority is kind of over 55 or 60%. That would be a majority to me. So, but yeah, so it's heavily subsidized. First of all, you don't have to be looking around for a box all day long. Second of all, you know, it demystifies it for you. I mean, anytime that you can reduce the amount of stress in your job or in your life, and you can focus on other things, I think it's a good thing. And so that's the reason why, another reason, or one of the primary reasons why I really like shoes. The other reason why I like shoes as opposed to, and I still love reselling bikes, and I love reselling bags, and I think bags are kind of on the same level as shoes, except it's not exactly super demystified when you have to ship them out, because they can go in all kinds of different boxes. But one of the things I really like about shoes too is that you can do the check really quickly, and if something's like effed up, or you know, it's just a pass, it's a quick pass, and you don't have to sit there looking at it, right? Like, because it's footwear. So if there's a clear issue, like, and it's glaring, and it's going to affect the way it performs, then you don't pick it up. Whereas with a bike, you're like, okay, I can invest an hour of work or 2 hours of work, and I can get it where it needs to be. I can order a part. With a shoe, you're not ordering any parts or anything like that. It's pretty much what you see is what you get. So that's another reason why I really like shoes a bunch. It's another reason why I really like bags a bunch as well. So I really wish someone would make a shoe guide. I think that would be so cool. If you guys aren't getting the hints of what I am saying, I think you guys are crazy. But anyways, yes, I'll say it right now. Right now, I'm actually 95% done with my latest publication, my latest guide, which is a shoe and boot guide. All right, so 95% done. In fact, all I have to do is just proofread it, but I completed it technically the other day. So that's another reason why I haven't been here for a very long time, because I've been absent from YouTube for about 2.5 weeks. Okay, so what's the next item right here? And I have the cords and the cables and the manuals and kind of stuff like that. So now we know to look for, you know, in this video, I'm trying to teach you guys 8 things to look for in a garage sale. Look for, you know, vacuum cleaner stuff, especially Dyson, even Dyson parts pieces. A lot of times those can have really good resale. Another thing you want to start looking for is really cool work safety type boots, like logger style boots, really cool. Look for high brand, you know, like legit branded stuff like this, even though this came from a thrift store. Look for that at a garage sale, because, you know, you'll find them. And then the very first thing that we looked at, or the thing before that, we looked at nerd board games. So remember that. The one before that was a light field camera, but this basically represents you out there looking at point and shoot cameras. When you're at a garage sale and you see a point and shoot camera in a box, I mean, when someone has a box and it's in the garage sale and you open it, you see a manual and you see some cords and you see the charger, and man, that person really kept just about everything. So that's a really good sign that someone cares about the product. Typically, when you go to a garage sale and you see some of this stuff loose and there's no charger, no box, and scratches all over the screen and all that kind of stuff, yeah, that's when you have to start getting in like really, really cheap on the item, you know, like 25 cents, 50 cents, maybe $1 tops. But, you know, you kind of know that the person hasn't taken care of it. So this next item that I'm going to show you is not super, super profitable, but I think I can still get about 55 to 60 bucks for it. So there was a time when this thing sold for really good money, and it stuck in my head, and I think I made a mistake on this one, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. But I was at a church garage sale. I spent 20 bucks on this thing. And there was a time when these things were selling for like over $200 resale. This is basically a DVD recorder right here, which is super outdated. Like nobody messes with DVDs anymore. That's probably the reason why this thing has completely just kind of lost value. But this thing has a really nice, I mean, you could just see with the reflection right there. I don't know if you can see the reflection. I mean, there's like no scratches on it, nothing. It probably was used once, if not ever. So we have everything with it, the original packing. This thing right here with everything, if I show it correctly, could probably sell for around 55, 60 bucks. I'm in it for 20 bucks. I typically will never do this kind of flip again. But, you know, that's not to say not to pick them up, because if you were to go to a garage sale and you see this exact same setup and it's $1 to $5, then that would be totally worth it. But this one right here was 20. It does test out. It's awesome. Problem is, it's a little bit outside of like the realm of profit that I want to play with, because I kind of like to walk away with $50 pure profit on everything I flip. And that's like the main thing that's going on through my head when I go to garage sales. Like, find items that will yield me $50 in pure profit, or, you know, it could be a local item that would give me 30 or 40 like very quickly within a day. Like, I would do that. If it's something that is like $1 and I can sell it for 30, I'm typically thinking my Amazon FBA or my antique booth, which I do have, so that's pretty cool. But when it has to do with physical holding of the inventory, taking pictures, a little bit more work behind it, I'm thinking I have to have at least 50 bucks in pure profit, and that's just how I operate. All right. So let's take a look at the next find. Perfect thing for the, here's another kind of footwear kind of thing. This is perfect for my antique booth. It's nothing crazy. It's a Justin work boot. We know that. Just look at the front. A Justin work boot. This was free at a garage sale. It was actually $1, and I gave the lady a $5, and she didn't have any change. She felt so bad. She's like, "You can just take the boots." So cool, free. Yeah, I'll put this in my booth. That would sell for between about 30 and 45 bucks because they're not in perfect condition. The heel has some wear to it, so I'm not going to be looking for the moon on these. But someone here in Texas, is where I live, Austin, Texas, would love this thing. It's a size 90, men's work boot. Pretty cool. Definitely can't pass up free, although I didn't know it was going to be free. Then again, it was only $1, so I was like, whatever, it's $1. Another great thing, if you have a vintage antique booth, maybe you sell at a flea market, and you can sell this stuff on eBay as well, is this, deer antlers, right? I got this for, I think, $2, maybe $3. This one still has a piece of the scalp on it, or the skull, which is kind of gross. Still has some tufts of hair, which is even more gross. But I'm going to pop on this all the time because in my booth, these things sell between 35, now a small set like this, 35 and 75 bucks for something like this in my vintage antique booth. You might be thinking that's crazy, like doesn't look like something you would want to put on a wall. The thing is, a lot of people don't put these things on walls. I figured it out from people that run the antique mall. People will come in looking for these or elk antlers or things like that to make handles for knives, right? So they'll cut it here, cut it there, wherever they need the handles to be. And B, they use it for dog chewing toys or something like that is what they said, dog chewing tools. So dogs love to chew on antlers. That's what they said. And they said people come in looking for those things for their pets. So this is a very uneven kind of set of antlers, but for $3, it was a no-brainer. All right, let's go into some of the more interesting things. This was a thrift store find last week. Be on eBay very soon. This is a Plantronics a Logitech wireless headset, which is cool. So I found all this in like a bag. It was marked, I think, $10. On eBay, they resell for 50 plus. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. So yeah, we have a headset in there. We have the cord, plug the cord in, everything sounds good. Looks like it's hunting for a signal. So I know it's pretty much good to go. So that was a pretty easy find, Logitech. You can also throw these things to FBA if you're pretty confident that they're 100% working. And these things on FBA can, anytime you have a wireless headset, whether it be a Jabra or a Plantronics or a, Logitech or something like that, definitely if you have everything there and you can test it out, then a lot of people like these for calling centers, right? So it allows you to maybe walk around in your office because you can get up, you can lay back in your chair. It doesn't have to have an extra long cord or anything like that. And so it's great for people that do sales calls and they have to be on their headset all the time, and or people that are doing consulting or data work or something where you have to talk to a client for an extended period of time. You don't want any more wires in the way. So anyways, this is something that I look for all the time. I'll make a decision whether this goes to eBay or FBA probably tonight, but more than likely it'll go to eBay. What else do we got here? So I'm going to show you something interesting that I found. I think it was last weekend. It might be the weekend before. I'm just now getting around to doing some of this stuff because I've been focusing on some crazy things lately. So this is something that I bought for $70. Okay, so $70 I threw down on this with it, which is a old school Canon XL1 mini DV recorder. What's up, Raken? Good to see you, man. So this thing, back in the day, and when I say back in the day, we're talking 10 or 15 years ago, like this was super expensive stuff, and you could shoot awesome movies with it. It had stabilization, all kinds of stuff, and autofocus, manual focus, but it's running mini DV. So anytime you see mini DV, think antiquated, like nobody wants it. However, when it deals with camcorders, there are a lot of people that would love this kind of stuff. So, and people that still shoot with this kind of stuff, which is crazy. So we got this. We got some other lenses. My brother's handling the sale of some other lenses. I'm handling the sale of this thing. I was not able to get the actual charging mechanism for that thing, so I'm going to have to sell it as untested and right around $100, which shouldn't be too bad because the other lens will sell for some pretty good money. And then a couple other things could sell for some good money. But I look for things like that too. That's actually considered professional grade video recording equipment from back in the day. because I think the term prosumer came out after that, which now prosumer cameras kind of look like, and I have one up here somewhere, but this is what a prosumer camera, give me 1 second, guys. So if you ever go to a garage sale and you see these kind of things, this is what's called a prosumer rig, and I shoot fitness videos, and this thing typically can run for over 30 minutes, whereas most camcorders will terminate at 30 minutes, and they'll make another file or something like that. This one will record straight through, you know, hours and hours. It's called a broadcast camera, prosumer style. So got a sunshade. This one's pretty awesome, and we have all the little hookups for audio and everything right there. So when you see prosumer today, it looks like this, which is kind of like that down below, except way smaller. So just be thinking about those kind of things when you are at a garage sale and you see maybe a point and shoot camera. That's something small like a Canon ELPH or a G7X. That's point and shoot. Then you deal with stuff like SLR, which is like this. Then you have an SLR camera, which are these kind of things, most commonly, you know, T3Is, 80, you know, 70Ds, 50Ds, whatever. Those are these kind of cameras, and these can start being, this, you know, a lot of good money can come from these kind of cameras. And then after that, you deal with super high grade, like, you know, SLR cameras, Leicas, and things like that, where a lot of times the lens is worth just as much as the body. And then after that, you deal with prosumer rigs like this, right? And then you have actual professional rigs like the Red camera or something like that. So that's kind of like the tier. So look out for things in garage sales like that. And if it looks like the person doesn't know what the hell they have, but it looks like it's all there, that's a really good sign. I typically do not like to buy cameras from people that are like ex-videographers or something like that, because then they know almost exactly what they have. So, okay, yeah, shout out to Rake and Profit. He gave me a $2 super chat saying the next Doppio is on me. Thank you so much, buddy. Good to see you. Okay, so let's talk about another cool thing that I don't even know what number we're at, but I'm going to show you something really cool, because when you are at garage sales, especially garage sales, because I find them there more than anything, look for Chilton's manuals for older vehicles, okay? Because FBA on these Chilton manuals, I've sold Chilton manuals up to like $39 on FBA used. So the main thing that you want to take a look at is make sure there's like no crazy, you know, writing in there or anything like that, or pages missing. But it's, you know, it's pretty typical to find a Chilton's manual with like grease on it, or someone's worked on their car or motorcycle, and there's going to be some sort of grease right there. That's a little typical. But look for Chilton's manuals, man. I'm telling you, these things are super, super cool. So it'll say Chilton's like that. It almost always will have a color up here with the make of the model, make of the vehicle, and then the models are like right around here. So this is a 1991 to 97 Ford Ranger Explorer Mountaineer. Wasn't that Mercury? Anyways, but yeah, I thought it was a pretty good thing. You scan them right there, pretty awesome, right? And then it'll show you on FBA what you will get. So that's pretty cool. I don't know what this one's going to yield. Well, we can do this right now. I'm going to take a look really quickly what this is going to yield, and we'll see. I think I spent like $1 on it. So I would send it anything over really 10 bucks. Let's see here. All right, so a Chilton Ford manual, 540,387 in books. It's a great rank. It's 3.5 out of 5 stars, which I wouldn't care. At the time that at the time that I looked this thing up, I know it was higher than this, because I usually don't pop on a book that's going to yield me $8.60, but it's also a 500K rank book, and I bought it for $1, so it's not too bad. And you can sell it in used condition. So yeah, not too bad at all. $8.60, you know, I'll walk with, let's say comfortably, I'll walk with $7, and all I will have to do is put a little label right there. So not too bad. All right. Lord Ahab said, I just noticed the Point Break poster. Yeah, this one's super awesome. Okay, so I want to get done with the show pretty quick, because I want to make another show about kind of like what I've been up to. But let me show you the last finds. So when you're at a garage sale, and I do have a guide on this, this wasn't really created. This show wasn't created to boost my guide, sell my guide, or anything like that. But for those of you guys out there that have my guide, my latest guide, so I'm about to show you some cool things from that. One I picked up yesterday at the thrift store. It was a $10 fine, will more than likely sell for 80 or 90, maybe $100. I don't know. But this one was interesting. This was like a $1 fine at a garage sale. This was $1. This is a Boy Scout backpack. Okay, pretty awesome, like old school style, almost like Swiss military style. It's made by BB Rover. It's called the original rucksack, but we know it's definitely one of the smaller ones I mean, if I just put this on my back, it wouldn't work out. But yeah, this is a Boy Scout backpack from back in the day. I could put this in my booth for around 50 bucks. It would definitely sell. Or I could put it online and I can see if I can get any more than, let's say, 70 bucks. But yeah, these old style backpacks like this is very, very similar to the Swiss military style backpacks where they have a metal frame inside and all kinds of interesting accents to it. And it's typically a rucksack type stuff. Type sack, basically main drawstring, the cover right here to make sure that most of the elements don't get into the sack. But yeah, so that's an interesting thing you can look for. Yeah, and my guide, Bags to Bucks, would totally help you spot and be confident with things like this right here. But let me show you something that's a little bit more of a home run. And this was $10 yesterday at a Goodwill. I think this might have been used one time. So right here, we have an Osprey backpack, right? It's a Kite 36. This is a women's backpack, highly adjustable. And this is considered an internal frame backpack. My bag guide definitely helps you spot all these kind of things. But this bag right here is 10 bucks. It was 10 bucks, and it will probably resell for somewhere between $80 and $90. Yeah, it's basically current day technology with the airspace in the back. My guide has all that kind of stuff in it. Shows you the airspace, shows you the brands to buy, shows you how to check a bag correctly. Typically, when you deal with these kind of bags, you're going to deal, like I said with eBay, you have to put some very important keywords in there. So you want hiking, which is the application. This is a women's, that's the gender. You're going to want the brand. You guys, Osprey, the model, Kite 36. When you deal with the model's Kite, and and when you deal with these kind of backpacks, you need to put the liter capacity. So this is a 36-liter pack. And after that, you need to deal with the size, which is very interesting. And not many people know about this, but when you deal with internal frame backpacks, typically there's a size to them. Now the size on internal frame backpacks is either going to be right up here, all right, very close to the strap that would hook it up to a wall, or it's going to be very close to right here, which is the actual hip belt or hip rest strap right there. All right, so we look here, we don't see it, we look here, we see a size, and right here it says this is a women's extra small or to a women's small. So very, very, very important. If you don't do that, you are liable to get a pretty good return, and you definitely don't want that. Outside of that, check all your zippers and your clasps and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, this is a pretty awesome score, because I could honestly go to an REI in town, get a Kite 36, and it would probably run me about 134 bucks. So it's a really good backpack. So you start to realize how 80 and 90 bucks in a used or mint condition really is completely realistic. So anyways, there is that right there. All right, so that pretty much wraps it up. Of course, guys, I told you guys that it was going to be a show that had more than 8 items. So if you are liking the stuff that you saw, maybe you learned something, make sure you do one thing and hit the like button for me. It is good to be back. It's good to be making videos. And yeah, be on the lookout for my next guide, which is probably still going to come out in like 2 weeks or something. But yeah, if you want to learn more about some of the stuff that's here, put a comment down below once it's not live. But yeah, if you ever want to learn about the bag thing, I'm telling you, the bags are awesome. And that bag alone would pay me twice what my bag guide would cost you guys. So think about it. The links are down below. It was really fun to hang out with you guys. And I will see you on the next Bonafide Hustler video. Take it easy. Goodbye.